So you're struggling to sleep or get good quality sleep. And let me paint a scenario to you. It's now 10 p.m. on a Thursday night and you're about to go to sleep and turn off the lights, but you say to yourself, let me watch one more YouTube video. And then you start to browse for an hour later than your scheduled time of sleeping. Then you remember there's some messages from work that I need to look at. And so you go and read the messages, and then you remember that you have some work that is left to be done for the showcase for tomorrow. So you spend the entire night working on those tasks, even though you're extremely exhausted. But you have a few energy drinks, which are very high in caffeine, so you can power through it. And you listen to some hip hop beats in the background. It's now 4 a.m. and you decide to finish and shut down the computer. But then there's still a lot of other work that still remains. So you just did a quick copy and paste from ChatGPT. And because you got distracted by the YouTube music and also the videos that you're watching whilst trying to do work, you ended up just creating this very quick, rushed job. So you set the alarm now 3 hours and 30 minutes from now. But then you start to get anxiety about tomorrow's showcase, what's going to happen, and then the sounds of the busy streets also keep you up late at night. So you waste hours around the bed twisting and struggling to sleep. In the morning, the alarm explodes and you wake up, but you say to yourself, let me wait another 10 minutes. So you go on your phone and that's the first thing you do. You look at social media, YouTube and everything, and then you end up wasting so much time. But you realize you have to get up because you only have 30 minutes to get out. And with thoughts unfocused, you're deprived of willpower and even motivation. So you charge out of the bed and you also skip taking your supplements or even breakfast or anything that keeps you energized for the day, and driving on the way to work where you almost collided to another car. Then you arrive at work, decided to get a coffee. Then the conferences begin. You're trying to listen, but your focus is disrupted. It almost feels like you're like a robot because you're copying word for word what is discussed, but you're not intently understanding what is being discussed at hand. Just writing away, absorbing nearly nothing. Then after a few moments, it is now your turn to showcase the project. You end up feeling nervous, like anxious. Your stomach feels like butterflies that are flowing and mixing up the words as you speak, realizing there are mistakes on the slides and missing images on the slides as well. Finally, you finish and you hear an applause, but deep inside you feel guilty and shame of your performance, as you know you can do so much better. At lunchtime, you swallow food down really quickly, trying to avoid any eye contact with anyone because of your embarrassment of the performance of your showcase. And your stomach starts to feel a bit hurt, like you feel a bit of pain in your stomach, in your chest as well, thinking of how much of a bad day it really was. And your heart rate starts to increase and you start to feel a bit dizzy and feel like sleeping. You have this brain fog. But even still, you have to carry on because you're only halfway through the day and have conferences and meetings throughout the day as well. And if this does sound like you, well, this is the perfect video for what you have to do to ensure you have the best performance for each day. As you can see, it always begins the night before, which is dependent on your quality of sleep. So this is going to be the first part of the biohacker's guide to in-depth guide of how to sleep and how to get effective sleep. So let's first highlight, why does sleep matter? As you can tell in the scenario earlier, if you had better sleep, then your performance to tackle the challenges of the day would be so much easier. Just think about that. Sometimes you have to think, is it really worth me watching this YouTube video and overextending my deprived state of sleep and tired self, which may end up dropping my performance for the day after by 30 to 40%, as I'll have to end up expending more energy, consuming more food and gaining more calories as a result, just so I can power myself through the day. And I might also make more mistakes as well, with higher probability of that happening as well, even risks that might be such as driving a car, almost colliding to another car. With adequate sleep, the work would have been completed in a shorter time frame, with high productivity levels, with much less mistakes, and higher quality delivery. There is so much evidence and research of why sleep is so important, as it's an anabolic state where your body actually replenishes its energy storages and regenerates tissues and produces proteins. Staying up late can also release cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and that increases your inflammation and also your sleep deprivation state. It also reduces your white blood cell production, which ends up actually weakening the body to respond to infections. So you might find people that get sick very often, very quickly. If you study their habits, it might be a combination of things. It could be that they have junk food and everything else, but it could also be that they're just addicted to their phone and they don't actually end up getting good quality sleep for their body to recover and replenish and to be able to have a strong immune system. So exercising, sleeping, and also having the right nutrition is so important to having a very strong immune system as well. So as we can also tell that sleep deprivation can also raise something known as systolic blood pressure and increase consumption of fat heavy and sugary heavy foods, which ends up leading to insulin resistance, and that leads to weight gain, risk of traffic accidents, and also depression, and also a lot of cardiovascular diseases. Sleeping issues have increased in relation to high usage of electronic devices. A study in 2011 by the National Sleep Foundation found that 63% of Americans do not receive enough sleep, and about 15% of adults between the ages of 19 and 64 receive less than 6 hours of sleep on weeknights, with 95% of them using some type of electronics, whether it's your computer, whether it's your smartwatch, whether it's your game consoles or your phone. These are the types of things that are keeping up majority of the people and being in a sleep deprived state. The exposure of the artificial blue light suppresses something known as melatonin, which is the sleep promoting hormone. Hence, it's very important to have good quality sleep and adequate sleep that you contribute, because it contributes to your better performance, awareness, mood, ability to handle stress, skin quality especially, athletic performance, and ability to learn new things, and just overall well-being. So this was part 1 of the ultimate guide for biohacking your sleep, where we explored the importance of sleep. So if you enjoyed this video, then like and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next part, where we're going to deep dive into the sufficient hours of sleep and the different stages and cycles, which is the ultimate secret of good sleep.